Hi everybody. Yeah, already the introduction was there. I will tell you something about the way we look at it to this norms and regulations from a manufacturer perspective, so to say. And we are cargo cycling, so we're producing all kinds of cargo bikes, let's say from small to big and so on. Of course, rules and regulations affect us as cargo cycling. But just to first dive a bit into who we are, we are a company who are originally producing care bikes, so bikes for disabled people, tricycles, wheelchair bikes. We already exist for 35 years. And within this care market, it's also important that you make, let's say, robust, reliable, strong bikes, because it's a functional product. People use it to get from A to B. And the same principles also work for cargo bikes in the end, because we also want to help, let's say, companies who need to have logistics in cities. They need to have reliable cargo bikes there to bring product from A to B. And there are all kinds of solutions, as you can see here on the picture. We have many different kinds of products because, each product has its own need there. And also there, reliability, strong products that need to do the job is important. Because we already exist for some time, we're ISO certified, which is also a norm, so 9001 and 14001, which says something about a standard on your quality management system. So the product that you produce is according to a certain quality. We're completely familiar with that. And on a national level and a European level and on an ISO level, we're also members to somehow tell a bit on our vision on the products and on the norms which there are or need to be created. So these are the topics I wanted to talk about. Just why quality is so important, a bit of our philosophy on that, and how and when these norms help, in fact. To start with the first and mainly important question, why is quality so important for e-cargo bikes or carrier cycles or whatever? You've got many names indeed for that. And for cargo bikes, mainly for the end user, for the bigger logistic companies, in fact, it's all about cost. In the end, if we don't find a solution together, then we won't get this work. So there won't be a good business case. It will cost too much, and other solutions will be, more interesting and will be, let's say, coming up with a better business case. So that's actually the main important thing these customers of us are thinking about. And as I was telling, we're indeed there already for some years. I think in the cargo market, for the Dutch Post, the oldest bikes are now for 10 years already on the road. And the first products we made were also not that good as they are now. And what we've learned in practice is that we saw a lot of wheel cracks, but also brakes. We just used regular bicycle brakes. Also a lot of things, wear and tear, which cost, maybe too much service or wrong service. So there are many factors that affecting, let's say, the total cost of ownership of the product. In the end, we can all have nice stories on becoming green, of course, but these companies do care just about having a sustainable business model, which providing them some margin, and that's the main important topic there. So to take you a bit into that philosophy there, we see actually three things which are important when you design a product. we're not looking only to the cargo bike itself, that needs to be strong and reliable. We're also directly looking to maintenance and service, of course, and we're looking to the end user. And actually, we do see IoT as an enabler of that, because the more data we can get, the better products we can make, the better service we can do, and in the end, we can also help the user to use that bike in a more proper way, or maybe the fleet manager to also maintain or check the fleet better to have a good business model there. So these are the three things we, from design principle, already looking into that. So if you look to our bikes, maybe they're not the nicest looking bikes, but in the end, it's a working horse. So we're making use of, for example, steel covers, which makes us the possibility of not having cables through the frame of the bike itself. No, you just easily take off in a service and maintenance situation the cover, change the cable, steel cover on, and you're back again and running, because it's just about having the product ongoing, having uptime there. That's the most important thing there. It must make life easier for these companies. So this is pretty much the principles we use on the Nijland side, so for our care products, but also for the cargo products there. So how does it then work with norms? And how do they help us? In fact, it actually brings us the market needs together. There are many stakeholders involved in this situation, especially in a new market. There is no norm. And Aniek was talking about we're now into the machine regulation. So we're a product that has below a speed of 25 with a rated power of 250 watts nominal. That also counts for our care products. So that means that we're directly falling under the machine regulation. But for a tricycle, there is no norm. You've got the APAC, but in the APAC it says the scope of just only 2 wheels. But hey, we've got tricycles, so we're not even falling underneath a certain harmonized norm. So we're then directly falling under the machine regulation. And the same is now also going on with the cargo bike market. I think 5 years ago, there wasn't a norm. We just had the DIN norm, of course, but the DIN norm was only set up to a certain level, a certain, let's say, weight limit. So, we didn't know anything about, cargo bikes weighing up with a weight of maybe 650 kgs. We didn't know anything about it. So, the most important thing that we need to do together is that we gather the data from out of the field with all the products there, because we've got some products maybe there, but also other manufacturers do have products there. Institutes, universities, everybody has a certain kind of knowledge. We need to bring that together to create a norm where we all say as a market, this is safe for us. And just here on the side, you see a picture that has some strain gugs on the front fork of our tricycle cargo bike, the Chariot. We didn't know, because there wasn't no norm, we needed to find out how the forces were on this bike. So together with the University of Hamburg, we tried to find out, hey, what are the forces if we have such a bike? To get all this data, and also other cargo bike manufacturers did the same, and universities as well, just to get all this data, which you need to use to set up, in the end, a norm from the market perspective. So comparing data is also important, because our bike has a different behavior than another. So that's important, but in the end, it's all about the risk. So there are certain risks with cargo bikes, and the risks are a bit different if you have a bigger bike than a smaller bike, but in the end, you need to take into account all these risks, and if you reduce all these risks or make sure that it's not too big risk, then you can create a safe norm and a safe product in the end. So just to elaborate a bit on that, This is some data of a product of us, which I'm sharing with you, just to give you a feeling on the impacts and all the things we're thinking of as a manufacturer. So we put some data analysis on a bike, and we saw that, for example, if you brake with such a heavy load, that it definitely has a really big impact on your frame. So steel is bending there even. So we knew exactly at which spot it was breaking. So then we also took these measurements into account, into the new norm we were setting up, just to be sure that, hey, we see this in practice. Let's put this information into a kind of formula in the norm, such that other manufacturers can use this as well, to also create a safe bike. And even extrapolating the data, so seeing what is happening actually over lifetime, because you want to know what's happening after 50 or 80,000 kilometers, because these commercial products, they are actually used, we see 15 to 20,000 kilometers on a yearly basis in use with high commercial use, which is pretty insane. That's more than I drive in my car, actually. So, yeah, how do norms help? Actually, they are a guideline to safety, but will only be used if it fits the market needs. And indeed, that question that came up in the back was, hey, there's a gross weight, of course, which now in the norm is up to 650 kgs. Yes, first it was a bit lower. But we were sitting together with some manufacturers, Cloisters was involved there, some others as well. And we came to the calculation, to the conclusion that if we're using only 600 kgs, that the structural integrity of the bike is too low. So we need a certain kind of strength within the vehicle to be able to carry 200 kgs, for example, as a payload. So we discussed that together with the group, and we said, well, let's keep it to 650, let's put it there, and for that you can use the norm. In the end, it's also good to tell you that a norm is just a norm, and you can use that. Because if you want to build a bike for 1,000 kgs, that's also fine. And a norm is just a guideline. You don't need to use it. The only responsibility as a manufacturer is that you make a safe product. So if you think, hey, I've got a bike of 1,000 kgs for a certain purpose that's useful, then you just need to, let's extrapolate these formulas into these bigger volumes. So in the end, that's always possible. But norms in general are also in the end used to come up with certain regulations by authorities. And we believe as a group, as with all these stakeholders, that 650 kgs somehow is a bit the area where you need for heavy duty cargo bikes the weight limits to create a safe bike. This is a picture of the presentation of the new cargo bike norm Aniek was also talking about, the EN 17860 series, which is the cargo bike series, and it was released on the Eurobike last year. So yes, now we have a norm, a standard that really helps us together to create safe products. Up till today, there's still no norm for a care bike. So as I told you, we're producing tricycles for disabled people as well. There's still no norm, so we still need to find a way ourselves to make a risk analysis on how to make a safe product there. But at least for the cargo bikes, there is now. And it's a good start. And we need to refine these norms, which happens in revisions, of course, to come up in the end with an even better norm there. And let's use this norm together to create safe products. Just to elaborate on that, this 650, what we see in looking to the market needs, roughly 2,000 liters, 200 kgs of payload is somehow the weight we see that customers are requesting from out of the market, which you can still put in a cargo bike. So if you have that too low, if you can only carry 50 kgs with your cargo bike, that doesn't make sense there. So that's the sweet spot we think. as manufacturers. Then you've got the new norm. Then you need to test it, of course. What we also did extra from this cargo bike norm, next to, let's say, the regular bicycle business, is that even complete vehicle tests are in there. In the original, let's say, if you just have a two-wheeled e-pack cargo bike, just a normal regular bike, then it's not even necessary, so to say, to do a complete vehicle test. Somehow a bit strange. You're putting components together, and then if you test the frame, then it should be okay. But even with the cargo bikes, we're saying that, hey, just if you have everything together, test the entire vehicle, because everything is somehow related to each other, which is important. We did this test first based on the DIN 79010, so the old, let's say, norm, because the new norm wasn't there. So now we can do this new test all over again with this new norm. And some things are somehow changed a little bit, but yes, this helps to create safe products there as well. And then just to show you the effects of this. As a use case, this is, I just took one. This is DHL Express in Antwerp. So they are now using our cargo bikes already over some serious period of time. And what we just saw is that this is a statement they just quoted out of the ZAC Daily. And in the past, they had products of others, and they had like really insane maintenance costs, over €1,000 per month. So that's also, then the business case model doesn't work at all. You can get maybe a bit cheap product, but in the end, your maintenance costs are highly, way too high, so that costs money. With the new norm, and testing with this new norm, with a good product, we have realized it to only €200 per year on service costs, which is pretty insane. And then you get a good business model for these kinds of companies. So this is the proof, I would say, that these norms work, create safe products, create reliable products, which is needed for this market. So, and that basically counts for all these products. For the heavy-duty parts, so there are different series in it. For the heavy-duty cargo bikes, it's we're also searching for the way on, hey, how can we also convince the outside world that these products are safe? Because some people think, hey, that's quite a big bike. Is this safe enough? Yes, it is safe because it's strong. Together with also other cargo bike manufacturers, we're really having this discussion, and we feel the need that we also need to tell the world that these products are used in a good way, are needed, are working, and are also safe to use for the environment. So together, we're trying to do our best to show the world that these products are pretty cool. And we're also supporting the LEVA EU, who is also pushing really hard to show that and embrace these new solutions, these new cargo bike solutions for these kind of companies, for our customers, so to say. That's it.
Thanks, Luuk.